Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the penultimate round of the VOR iRacing IndyCar Sprint Series here on iRacing. We are here for round number 4 of the season for races number 7 and 8 at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, in my best Italian accent that I can manage. We will have 2 races of 12 laps on the menu today of 20 minutes time limited. One race will be in the morning, one in the afternoon. The grid for race 1 will be the qualifying results, and the grid for race 2 will be the reverse top 10 of race number 1, and then the rest by finishing positions from race number 1. Now, I was supposed to have Mike Wayne Robinson with me once again here this week, but for unknown reasons, Mike is not present yet, so hopefully he will join me later on, but at the moment it will be me flying solo. So, going into this race here, it's going to be a very interesting one. You've got very long straights, and also very hard braking zones, of course. So that's going to really make the racing very interesting. So before we dive into qualifying itself with 4 minutes left on the clock, here's the schedule, the remainder of anyway. December 12th, today is the twin Monza races, and then next week the season finale at Interlagos. So yeah, those are the remaining races. Then, whilst we are looking at a few cars out on the track, let's look at the point standings entering the race. The first race of today, Jarno Kausch has now taken over the points lead from Karel Stout, who missed the last 2 races at Detroit. Liam O'Sullivan is in third. He moves up from P9 all the way up to P3. So the gap between the top 3 is 7 points. Then we've got Luis Nunez, who is now with the Firstly Forward team in P4. Then Matthew Levine completes the top 5, with Darren Machabunga completing the top 10. So those are the points standings entering the race. So qualifying currently on the way, and let's take a quick look at who is out on the circuit. And of course, let's also bring up the timing tower, because that is usually something that helps quite a lot. Let's watch Luis Nunez here on his qualifying attempt. Now remember, there's a one-shot qualifier in this series. So drivers get one single lap to get their grid position right for race number 1. And do have to update the colors for next week for Luis. Bit of a late livery change for Luis, but sporting the new Firstly Forward colors. And I believe that is some sort of spin-off team from the Satellite Racing eSports team. Because Kevin Burrell is one of the competitors in the IndyCar community. I've seen him race the Firstly Forward livery as well in the Indy Elite Series. Whilst we were on the track together last weekend on Sunday. Luis, I believe, finished in the top 5 for that race as well. So a great result by those guys. Kevin, I believe, finishing P8 just in front of Seb Alexander, who finished 9th. Sorry, I said that the wrong way around. Kevin Burrell finished 7th, Seb Alexander 8th, and myself finishing P9. After Alex van der Zandt got taken out by a lapped car, I believe, in the early stages, which definitely helps. Something that does not help Luis Nunez is a big kick of oversteer coming out of the final corner. Karel Stout with provisional pole, Jarno Kausch to 2nd, and Luis Nunez goes to the provisional pole with a 1:30.097. So that is around 6.5 tenths clear of Karel Stout. Great effort by Luis Nunez, regardless of that little error there that he made. Let's see if there is anyone else out on the circuit, and Jack James is out on track in the number 53 Honda. Let's see what he can manage across the line. Carl Gretsch in the meantime jumps up to 5th, Machabunga P4, Van Gastel P6 and Rogenbach P7. Let's see if James can nestle himself in, and indeed he does. To 2nd he goes. So one of the final drivers on the track at the moment is Alaric van der Bos. And I'm curious to see what the old fox in the field can do as he jumps on the leaderboard to P8. And I have to say the field spread is pretty large at the moment, which is a surprise to see, to be honest. So that is going to conclude qualifying. And it's time to line all these cars up for the race. It's going to be a very interesting race indeed. as we have 12 people in the session. Liam O'Sullivan once again, I believe, choosing to start from the back. You can definitely overtake around this circuit though, so that's not the end of the world by any means. As we get set and ready to go for the first 12 laps of the race, of the night, I should say. So here is your starting grid. It's Luis Nunez on the pole, Jack James alongside him in the second position on the outside. Then we got Karel Stout and Jarno Kausch on row 2, Darren Machapunga and Kyle Gretsch on row 3. Kyle doing a great job on these road and street courses, by the way. I do know he runs in another league who don't do too many road courses, so for him to be up there is a pretty good result. Pim van Gastel and Alaric van der Bos on row 4, the two Dutchmen. Then we got Alexander Rogenbach and Patrick Zilvassi on the 5th row. Moving on to the final row, Liam O'Sullivan and Oliver Cotton. So drivers gridding up. As we are getting ready to go. I do believe I saw a few drivers blink out. I am not exactly sure what is happening here. I do believe everyone else is gridding up again now. So we are going to go racing here at Monza. 12 laps for race number 1. The same race distance coming up here in about half an hour for race number 2. And Luis Nunez has pulled back off the track. Or he has just blinked out. There he is. Alright. Looks like we got all cars on the grid. Cars revving up their engines for the first race of the evening. 4 races to go in the championship and it's lights out and away we go. And Luis Nunez immediately covering the inside line. Karel Stout with a decent run enough off the line. Going to go to the outside on the racing line. As the field dives into turn 1. Stout on the outside here. Moving up to second. As everybody else fighting for position, but Jack James losing a position off the line. And Liam O'Sullivan already to the inside of Pim van Gastel. Back up to the battle for second here. Karel Stout defending the inside. Fresh from his USF 2000 test. Immediately to second place. And it looks like Pim van Gastel got back in front of Liam O'Sullivan there. Going through turns 3 and 4. Alaric van der Bos right under the rear wing of Kyle Gretsch. Going into the Ascari chicane. As we bring up timing and scoring for you to see as well. And look at the run that Alaric van der Bos gets out of the Ascari chicane. Immediately going to go to the inside. This is a battle for 5th and Alaric decides to back off and wait for the start-finish straight. Now remember, these drivers do have push to pass available to them as well. 200 seconds to use as however they like in the race. As Alaric van der Bos to the inside he goes. Down the front straight. Gonna go slightly later on the brakes and he pulls off the pass. Pretty neat maneuver there to move into the top 5 for Van der Bos. At the front of the field though, Luis Nunez still in the lead, 0.6 of a second clear of Karel Stout. And one thing that is very interesting is Luis Nunez is on the primary tires. I did not spot that at the start of the race. So the harder black tire compound for Luis Nunez, the softer red alternate compound for Karel Stout. This should help Karel and also the guys running in third and fourth, Jack James and Jarno Kausch, to keep up with the gap. To maintain the gap to Luis Nunez, but at the end of the race, Luis Nunez should be able to pull away pretty comfortably with the amount of degradation that the primary tire does not have. Zilvassi defending going for a move, on Kyle Gretsch. Liam O'Sullivan now looking to pounce as well, the driver who won the second Texas race. Hasn't had the best of runs of races lately in the Sprint Series, but very much a contender for the championship going into Las Vegas here this weekend in the main series. as he is looking for some extra fun coming from the back of the field. And we see Jarno Kausch in the foreground of the shot as well, making a move for the third spot. Just having a small look though, Liam O'Sullivan to the inside for turn 1. And Kyle Gretsch is not really going to fight this one too hard, as Liam clears him for a 7th position in the race. Following Jarno Kausch once again, having a look to the inside, but again choosing not to go for the move. He recognizes that is not really the place to make a move, as we see a few pieces of gravel spit up in the air. Now there has been an update to the gravel and the debris system in general, so that might make the racing a little bit more interesting. And look at the gravel being spat out from one of the cars. I think that is Stout really pushing the limit there of the track limits. And yeah, like I said, the red tire is able to keep up with the primaries, at least for now anyway. Here he goes. Stout to the inside of Luis Nunez. Battle for the lead into the final corner, the Parabolica. And look at the run Stout gets coming off the corner. He's going to go neck and neck with Luis Nunez. And this might become a 3-wide battle for the lead as well, with Jack James tucked right in the draft of your leader Luis Nunez. And look at this. There's just nowhere to go for Jack James, as Luis Nunez defends the inside. Stout maintains the outside. And everybody maintains position, at least for now. Top 4 under a blanket, quite literally, as multiple people kicking up some gravel, as Liam O'Sullivan makes a move past Alaric van der Bos in the background as well for P6. There he is. As we wait for the field to come down the back straight into the Ascari chicane. Nunez and Stout both on the push to pass. And you can visibly see the gap from the top 4 to Patrick Silvastri. That is 4 seconds from P4 to P5. So whilst we have a very quick second, I want to take a look at Liam O'Sullivan's move past Kyle Gretsch down the front straight. There he is, pulling to the inside on lap number 3. And just a handful of seconds ago, this is into the second chicane for Liam O'Sullivan. Simple move once again to the inside, just goes later on the brakes than Alaric, and he recognizes his loss of position, and that's that. Back to live pictures, top 4 remains unchanged. So Luis Nunez feeling the need to break the toe into the Ascari chicane. As we look at these beautiful drone cameras here of the field going through that very high speed chicane. It's a left, right, left. Oh, look at all these guys kicking out their rear ends out of the final corner. That's just amazing to see. You can really lean on these rear tires here with the IR18. And here is O'Sullivan catching up to Patrick Silvastri. This will be your next change in position, I would assume. Liam just has to take his time, settle into that nice rhythm that he knows he can get into. And there he is on the push to pass. Savassi not using it down the little bend into the second chicane. I forgot the name of the corner there. I do know it has a name, but I just forgot it. Oops. So it looks like we're getting a bit of cloud cover involved now. As the field is settling into a rhythm here, Stout looking like he is losing a bit of touch with Nunez. And like I said, the rear tires at the beginning of the stint are very capable of challenging the primary tires, especially Luis with his natural pace advantage. But the draft in these cars is so big as well that it should also be sufficient. But yeah, the rear tire is clearly falling off, and you can clearly see that in the gap too. The gap was around 0.3 of a second last time by, and now it's pretty much doubled. Here's your most recent race winner though. One of your most recent race winners, along with Luis Nunez. So Machabunga not able to execute his grid position from P8. Unfortunately for him, he is also one of the drivers on the primary tires, which is just slower. Until about lap 7 or 8, which we are seeing now with Stout and Nunez. So yeah, the damage is pretty much done for him anyway. The gap is just 9 seconds to Gretsch, and maybe he can gain a position on Van Gastel, but I think race 1 is pretty much lost for Machabunga at the moment, and so it is for Rogenbuck and Cotton, who has had an off somewhere. Let's see, this is on lap 2. Yep, just charges it. Yeah, English. Here's another look. Charging it in way too hard and spinning in the second chicane. And backs it up into the wall for good measure as well. So rear wing damage for him. And is that a Top Gun Maverick logo that I just spotted on the rear wing? It is! That's awesome. I really love the 2 Top Gun movies. But yeah, it just goes from bad to worse here with the rear wing damage. Just no grip for Cotton. And he is now 4 laps down already. So O'Sullivan not making in any ground on Savassi at the moment. Not sure if that is by design or by Patrick simply managing the gap. Kyle Gretsch in the meantime drops from his P5 starting spot, sorry, to P8. And we may as well just do a through the field. Did start 6, I apologize. From 6 to 8 for Kyle Gretsch. So let's go up to your leader. And it's still got the wrong information. I literally edited it pre-race. I apologize. Not Nexus eSports, but firstly forward. Luis Nunez out in the lead. Hasn't lost sight of that front position all day long. Carl Stout started third, currently running second. Gained that position off the line from Jack James. In what was a very nice execution of the first corner there by him. But Jack James going to put him under pressure now. Lost the position at the start as I mentioned, but he's going to look to gain it back from Stout now. Down the front straight as we cross the line for 4 laps to go. James holding the middle of the line of the racetrack. So Stout is not able to do anything but late brake. Brake late, and Stout regains that position. But clearly a big pace advantage for Jack James at the moment, as the gap now 2.3 seconds to Luis Nunez. And look at Jack James, we're going to see a Fernando Alonso here in the grass from 2012, almost, but not quite, as Jack James moves himself up to second with a neat little pass into the second chicane, kicks up some gravel for good measure too. Quite literally throwing it in Carroll's face right there. Jarno Kausch hasn't lost sight of the 4th spot all day long. Then Savassi also on the primary tires. Started 10th, he's the biggest mover in the field, up 5 positions to 5th. Liam O'Sullivan is on the alternate red tires. And he is the 2nd biggest mover, currently running behind. Gained the same amount of positions, but currently running in the 6th position on the reds, which are definitely falling off at this stage in the race. Moving on to Alaric van der Bos. Made up 1 position from the line as well, which is on Kyle Gretsch. Which was on lap 2 of the race. Here it is, Kyle Gretsch going wide. And Alaric van der Bos with a great run coming out of the final corner. Pulls to the inside here. Starting lap number 3 this was. And that was a pretty basic maneuver down the straight after that mistake from Gretsch. And there it is, position gained for Van der Bos. And Savassi in the background got past the both of them a handful of laps later as well. Here is that move into the Ascari chicane. To the inside, and Gretsch did not defend that whatsoever. And about 20 seconds later, Van der Bos's turn to lose a spot to Savassi. This is on lap 4. Van der Bos recognizing the loss of position early and lifts off the throttle just a little bit earlier before the corner, so he knows that he can make it through the corner alright. As we have 2 laps to go now at the line for Luis Nunez, who has pulled away massively. The gap is over 3 seconds now. I actually want to go as far to say, yeah, 4.6 is the final gap. As Stout still looking to fight for that 2nd spot with Jack James. So Stout potentially regaining some race pace in those degraded alternate tires. Now, there is actually a grading phase you can enter with these tires, and it's not the typical grading phase you see in F1, for example, where the tire just bubbles up, basically. But it is a similar effect in iRacing, where you just overheat the tire, and it just loses a bucket load of grip. And you can drive through that, and you can regain some performance all of a sudden. And I'm speaking from experience at Homestead the other day on the oval. My tires were completely shredded after 25-30 laps, and then they were gone for 5 laps and they came back to me. So that might be what's happening to Stout, but it might be too little too late for him though. Looking at the rear wing of Jack James. Regained that spot 2 laps ago, but Stout looking to reclaim that position once more after he originally took it off the line. As the sun is starting to get a bit low here. Hopefully we don't get into trouble for race number 2 later on, but Stout with a massive run down the front straight. To the inside he goes, almost in the grass, and he's gonna go for it. Late on the brakes, sends it in there. And there we go, that's P2 run once again for Karel Stout. James made it difficult for him, but Stout with the big balls to the inside. And he takes that 2nd position away from Jack James. Luis Nunez in the meantime on the final lap of the race. Out to a 6-second lead already. And for the nerds under us, that is on average around half a second a lap. And he is still pushing. Fastest lap of the race in the hands of Karel Stout on lap number 2, by the way. Very early on in the race. Here we go for round number 3. Stout weaving to break the toe. But James not close enough for a move into Ascari. Maybe for the Parabolica he might be close enough. And that's a really good run there. And Stout knows that he has to break the toe. I don't think James is going to have quite enough for this straight though. Unless he absolutely lunges it in. But Carroll Stout knows it. Defends the inside. But in the meantime, Luis Nunez goes to victory lane here at Monza for race number 1. Dominates once more. Like we know he is very much capable of. Stout loses out to Jack James out of the final corner. We just missed that. We'll bring up a replay in just a second. But Kausch finishes 4th and Silvassi brings it across the line in 5th. Yeah, Stout really slow out of the final corner. And James just using the push to pass. Oh! Did Stout run out of fuel or something? Bit of contact across the line, but Jack James finishes 2nd. And before we lose the results, let's take a quick look at them. So it's Luis Nunez who goes to victory lane, 5.5 seconds clear of Jack James. Carroll Stout completes the podium. Then it's Kausch and Silvassi rounding off the top 5. O'Sullivan drives back up to 6th. Then we have Van der Bos, Gretsch, Matsubunga and Van Gastel completing the top 10. And Rogenbach and Cottam, the 2 final drivers, completing the top 12. Cottam had that off in the 2nd chicane, where he looked it around and had too much damage to continue. So that is going to wrap it up for race number 1. As we will get ready to go for race number 2 here shortly. Hopefully we get the chance to talk to Luis Nunez as well. So in the meantime, for those interested in joining the Sprint Series, we've got 1 more round to go after this. And hopefully by next week we will have more to announce on a next season as well, which is in the works. Just a few details need to be finished off before we do. But the series is free to enter. And if you want to race at Interlagos, feel free to join the Discord and sign up to race with us. Like I mentioned, free to enter. So you can just come in as long as you know how to race on a road course. Does not look like we get the chance to talk to Luis Nunez, so he's probably very happy with his performance. Hello, Wagner. Matt Wagner in the chat. Currently working, otherwise he would have been racing. So is next week, Matt, if you want to join in. So we're getting ready to go here in about 3 minutes. That's a long way to go still in practice. Might give me some time though to fix the spreadsheet with Luis Nunez's name. Wink, wink. It's always great when you fix that. Obviously. So yeah, just confirming we will not get the chance to talk to Luis Nunez, unfortunately. I think he's just focused on getting his rhythm right for race number 2. So just to clear up what happened in the first race, by the way. So apparently there is some fuel saving involved in the races today, which explains why Stout ran out of fuel just across the line. Let's take another quick look at this, if we can, from the chopper. So yeah, right about here, Stout runs out of fuel and James just in time reacts to move around him and takes that position away. So James in second, Stout in third. So for the sprint race, it's going to be Pim van Gastel and Darren Machabunga on the front row. Kyle Gretsch and Alaric van der Bos starting on row 2. Liam O'Sullivan, Patrick Silvassi sharing row number 3. Row 4 goes to Jarno Kausch and Karel Stout. Jack James, Luis Nunez rounding off the top 10. And then the final 2 finishers from race 1 will be on row 6. So warm-up is now concluded. We will get going here very shortly. So for those who remember, the Nürburgring second race was an absolute barn burner of a race. Will we see more or less the same? The temperatures have cooled off significantly as we jump over into the late afternoon race number 2. Here's the weather. Just 19 degrees air temp and 19 degrees track temp. So it's going to be a cool one. Quite literally. As the field gets set and ready to go for race number 2 here in the late afternoon. Final car is gridding up. Looks like we're missing the 5th position of Liam O'Sullivan. And we should be good now. So all the cars revving up their engines for a late afternoon second race 2 here at Monza. And it's lights out and away we go. And it's an awful start by Luis Nunez in the background. He drops to last position right away. Pim van Gastel loses the lead though going into turn 1. Started from pole but not getting the traction he needs as Machabunga leads into turn 1. Nunez trying to send it up the inside here. Has to be real careful to the outside of Cottam and gets that position. As Van der Bos to the inside of Van Gastel as well. Hello, we need cameras. There we go. Into turn 4. Van der Bos around the outside of Van Gastel. Kausch to the inside of Silvassi. Gains the spot. And there's chaos in the background. Difficult to tell who that was. Might have been Cottam who went in the grass. As well as Stout who has had an issue. He drops to second last. And Nunez now back up into the top 10. So Machabunga leads. Kyle Gretsch currently running second. Alaric van der Bos running third. Great jump off the line for him. As the field will slowly set into a rhythm now. Here's Silvassi. Lifting off in the toe of Jarno Kausch. Possibly fuel saving, possibly strategically staying behind for the main straight. The top 3 very much pulling away from the rest of the field as O'Sullivan now has to defend from Jack James who pulls to the outside line. Kausch to the inside of Van Gastel. Silvassi going to look to follow him through, it seems, on the inside. James around the outside going to pull off the pass. Kausch as well as Silvassi getting around in the first chicane. So Van Gastel losing many positions on the first lap already. As now Luis Nunez on the charge too, going into turn 4. James now passing Van Gastel. Van Gastel getting a bad exit. Nunez looking to pounce immediately into Lesmo 1. And look at Stout and O'Sullivan, the two teammates in the background too. They need to move up the field if they want to stay in championship contention, with Luis Nunez winning race number 1 today and already in front of them. So the two Altena Autosport cars need to get a move on, as they're looking to go 3 wide almost. And we are going 3 wide. Stout to the inside of Van Gastel. They make it through. O'Sullivan passed into P8. Van Gastel struggling to get an exit now. And Stout really wants to get a move on it. As you can see, to the inside he goes. Looking to gain the spot. Got one fake Dutchman to the inside and one real Dutchman on the outside. As Stout gains the position to P9. Finally, he makes that pass, and it really took him a while to get that done on the second lap of the race. As we are now on lap number 3 already. Van Gastel though, tucking back in the draft, looking to come back around the outside of Stout. And Van Gastel makes a mistake on the braking zone, not able to complete the pass there. And now Cottam looking to pounce as well on this move. And Van Gastel in the space of, well, 2 laps basically, drops from the 1st position to the 10th position. And you might make that 11th, as Cottam to the inside as well. Still side by side though, a bit of oversteer by Cottam. Avoidable contact there by the 98. And Van Gastel holds on to the spot for now. Back to the front of the field, Savassi having a look to the inside of Kausch. Down the front straight, Machabunga still leads from Kyle Gretsch and Alaric van der Bos. That's the top 3, Kausch and Savassi the top 5. And look at this giant snake of cars. Luis Nunez is on the back of that group. Van der Bos to the inside now of Kausch. Kausch to the outside, I should say. Pulls off the spot, and Savassi immediately pounces too. Wow, what an exit by the number 17 Team Watson Racing Honda. And he tucks back in the draft of Kausch now to try and make it 2 for 1. Can he do it though? To the outside, gonna maybe flick to the inside. No, decides not to. Luis Nunez to the inside of Van der Bos. Ooh, a bit of wheel banging there between the two of them. Oh! Alaric van der Bos upside down. And there's damage for Jack James. Luis Nunez up to the top 5. Chaos erupting on lap number 4 of 12 here at Monza. Oh, yeah. That was a bit of netcode, it seems. It's hard to tell from this angle. Let's see. Can we rewind it a little bit further? So here's Van der Bos. And Luis sending it up the inside here. Fair move. He's alongside here. Van der Bos loses the rear end slightly. And... oh yeah, Luis does lose the rear end a little bit. And he just hip checks Van der Bos. And look at the flip he makes. That's going to hurt the old timer there. Unfortunately for Alaric, that's going to be day done for him. And quite literally the sun setting on his day. So Kyle Gretsch has lost 2 positions now down the front straight to Savassi and Kausch. Here is that move. And he's just a sitting duck down the front straight. Kausch on the inside. Savassi follows him through here. Yeah, just look at the difference in braking performance. Gretsch doesn't have the line either, which doesn't help. And Savassi clean around the outside in the first chicane. Here's the battle for 4th now. So Luis Nunez to the inside of Kyle Gretsch. And clears him before the braking zone. Oh, that almost looked like Gretsch was going to rear end him. Gonna drill him into the Ascari chicane, but he luckily did not. Would have perfectly summed up Nunez's season though. And Darren Mashabunga once again the star of the show in race number 2, like he was in the Nürburgring. Can he make it 5 out of 8 different winners? Oh! With a wheel spin by Gretsch. And that's going to set up Stout and O'Sullivan real nicely here. Those two drivers looking to gain another spot into the top 5. Stout sitting behind for now. Gretsch with a really bad exit coming out of Lesmo 2. Stout to the outside now, picks up the draft of the group in front. And pulls off the pass. Moves Stout up into the top 5. And Gretsch with another messed up line through Ascari. That's going to set up O'Sullivan's run real nice as well. Into the final corner, and look at the glare of the sun down the front straight, the back straight, sorry. As O'Sullivan clears Gretsch into the Parabolica, so Gretsch from the front row to 7th. Nunez and Couch battling for position into turn 1. And Nunez in 3rd. Looking for that second win tonight. He's got 2 more cars to clear and then he's done the last to first challenge. Pretty much. Let's go on board with the number 21 Fiercely Forward Chevrolet. There we go. Graphic is fixed. Salvasi going for the move on Mashabunga for the race lead to the inside of the Ascari chicane. Patrick Salvasi clears him and takes the lead of race number 2 in Monza. And he is gonna run like a rabbit because he's got Luis Nunez right behind him. As well as Mashabunga, of course, the car between the two. But for all Patrick is aware of, he is right behind him. And he needs to get a move on with 5 laps to go at the line if he wants any shot at winning this race. Mashabunga closing in, looking to come back at him. Luis Nunez having a look, but Mashabunga knows that Luis really likes these late braking maneuvers and he covers it off beautifully. Loses a bit of time on the exit though. And here he comes, Luis Nunez with a big run. Not close enough for Issy. No, not close enough. Even for Luis's standards, that's too far away to outbrake the car for second. Probably paying attention to Abu Dhabi 2024 as well, with Verstappen dive bombing Piastri up the inside. So Stout and O'Sullivan have swapped positions in the background for P6. P5 and P6 that is. Down the home straight once more. 4 laps to go. Machabunga to the outside of Silvassi. Gonna pull off the pass, and Luis Nunez is gonna look to follow him through straight away. Doesn't get the exit speed, and Silvassi holds on to second at least. But he might still lose the position after all. Into turn 3. Down to the second chicane, turns 4 and 5. But no, holds on for now. As Silvassi kicks up some gravel again. Interestingly enough, Kyle Gretsch has 153 seconds of push to pass left. And unsurprisingly, Silvassi has the least because he's been defending and, well, charging and then defending and then back on the charge now on Darren Machabunga. But if these two are smart, they try to work together and keeping Luis behind a little bit. Closing in on 3 laps to go here at Monza for the second race of the night. And here we go. Luis Nunez pulls out of the draft. And he's going to look for the 2-for-1 special here into turn 1. And he makes it work. Oh, Machabunga has to take avoiding action across the curbs. Has to give that spot back with a slowdown penalty too. So Luis Nunez to the lead, Patrick Silvassi to second. Jarno Kausch going to pounce as well to third. As Machabunga serves that slowdown. And he drops from first to fourth in the span of one single corner. Excuse me. So 3 laps to go. And O'Sullivan is slowly tagging along with these guys, and so is Stout. So the race not completely over for these guys just yet, but they're running out of time. So Luis Nunez is now in the lead, but Silvassi is right with him. And remember, Luis has had to push the entire race. Is he gonna run out of fuel across the line like Stout did in race number 1? It could very well be a possibility. And there we go, Silvassi to the outside now of Nunez. And he sticks behind him. Interesting. So either he needs to save fuel or he doesn't want to pass because he wants to set it up for later. But Machabunga is struggling with the rears now. And Stout and O'Sullivan have caught on to the train of cars. 16 seconds left of push to pass for O'Sullivan, so he's not really in it anymore, or is he? As Stout still has 80 seconds. He has the most push to pass out of anyone, along with Machabunga. So 2 to go, make it 1.5 to go. As Stout gets a very nice exit out of Lesmo 2. Gonna set him up for the Ascari chicane. Push to pass enabled. Can he send it? Decides not to. And here we go. Big run for Stout now. And this should be a done deal. As he picks up the tow from the group of cars ahead too. To the outside. Can he outbrake Machabunga? And yes, he can. Quite easily in fact too. Because Machabunga just lets him go. Concedes the position. So Machabunga from pole to 5th at the moment. And the top 3 have now pulled away as the white flag is in the air. Silvassi closing in on Nunez. Here he goes to the outside. Sending it. Doesn't have the track position though on the outside line. Gonna lose a bit of time now as well. And is this his one and only shot at overtaking for the lead, vanished. Time will tell in about 20 seconds as we come onto the back straight. But Kausch looking to make the move as well, and all gloves are off now. Nunez defending the inside, Kausch around the outside of Silvassi, and the two collide. Silvassi goes for a spin, and Kausch goes for a flip, just like Van der Bos did. And that is going to promote Karel Stout to second place. Mashabunga re-inherits the third spot he lost a handful of laps ago. And what a bummer for Silvassi and Kausch. Very quickly before the race finishes here. Yeah. Kausch is right there. Silvassi should have known. Just turns into the corner. Unfortunate incident there for those two, as Kausch now without a wing, losing a spot to Kyle Gretsch. The race is not over though. Does Luis Nunez have enough fuel? Karel Stout charging out of the final corner, coming to the checkered flag. And Luis Nunez is gonna hang on. He wins back-to-back races at Monza today. Congratulations on a doubleheader sweep by the fiercely forward 21 Chevy. Karel Stout comes back to second. What a performance by him. Darren Mashabunga from pole to third, but still a great performance nonetheless. And Liam O'Sullivan comes home fourth. And Silvassi, impressively enough, holds on for a top 5 classification. What an ending to that race once again. The Sprint Series does not disappoint at all. So that's gonna wrap it up for race 2 here at Monza. Luis Nunez wins it just under half a second in front of Karel Stout. Darren Mashabunga completes the podium. Liam O'Sullivan and Patrick Silvassi complete the top 5, and Silvassi may or may not have a penalty coming his way, by the way that looked from that angle at least. Kyle Gretsch finishes 6th, Jack James 7th, Jarno Kausch still makes it across the line in 16th, 16 seconds behind by going for a flip for good measure too. So impressively enough, both cars finish the race still. Rogenbach comes away with 9th, Cottam finishes 10th. And then we've got Pim van Gastel and Alaric van der Bos. And Van Gastel started at the front of the field, but was not able to convert his race into a top 5 finish, at least, unfortunately for him. And Van der Bos was one of the cars who also flipped earlier in the race. And now we can talk to Luis Nunez. Hey Luis, congratulations on a doubleheader sweep for you today. Just talk us through the racing style today, because it seemed that people actually had to fuel save.
Oh yeah, especially in the second one, I had to probably I've oversaved too much, but yeah, it was nice, man, to win both races.
So, talk me through driving through the field here in this second race. We saw you at the Nürburgring going really aggressive. If anything, we saw you be a lot more cautious in this one. Can you just talk us through what went through your mind coming through the field like that compared to that?
Oh yeah, I was just being careful, I was behind Jake James, I think. So I was just trying to use the chance he left me when he was passing people to do the same. Especially in turn 1, for example, I was preparing the exit to pass the other guys he was passing. And yeah, that was nice. I struggled a little bit at the end with, I think I was Patrick and Lumba, I think it was. So yeah, it took me quite a bit. And yeah, the end was super tight with Karel. But yeah, really happy with both victories.
Awesome results for you today. Any shout outs to any team partners or sponsors or friends maybe?
Oh yeah, thank you to my team, and yeah, especially to my team, maybe also my sponsor, Trolloc Energetic Drinks. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for everything, man.
Awesome. And by the way, I'm happy to inform you, for race 2 I corrected your overlay. So for race 1 it's incorrect, for race 2 it's correct.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 2 W's today.
Well, go out and celebrate. We'll see you next week at Interlagos, and you may or may not be in the championship lead. We'll have to confirm in just a second when we get off the air. But great results from you nonetheless today. See you next week.
All right. Thanks so much, Julian. Bye bye.
Right, that's going to conclude the action here today. Luis Nunez goes back to back with wins. That makes it 3 wins in a row this season for him. And his championship aspirations are looking very bright indeed. So, like I mentioned, next week, Interlagos, the 2 final races of the campaign. If you want to join in on the fun, feel free to join the Discord and sign up. But from my side, that's going to be it for today. I want to thank the sponsors and all the people who came out to watch the races today. And I look forward to seeing you, hopefully, with Mike Robinson alongside me next week for the Sprint of Brazil at Interlagos. Take care, everybody.